What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again with the headset on this week. So we keep trying different mics, John, but we are where we are now. It makes me look like a potato.
You don't need headphones for
that. Right, let's talk about Everton before I kick off with you. Are you happy? Sad? How are you feeling?
Good. Good. Saturday was more positive, wasn't it? From what we've seen of the game. I know you've done a video about it. I haven't really spoke about it. So my quick take on it was there seemed to be more tactical side to the team on Saturday. Players, most of them playing in their proper positions. I thought Jack Harrison looked good in the middle, which maybe that's what Dyche's going to go with now. He's got Lindstrom on the wing. There just seemed to be more energy. And listen, me and you were both at Coventry, and it was a million times better than that. It was a performance that we needed in pre-season. We've got a behind closed doors friendly tomorrow, I think. You said it might be Wednesday, tomorrow or Wednesday anyway, against Motherwell. And then we've got the last one on Saturday against Roma, which I'd like to think Saturday will probably be as close to the team that will start against Brighton as can be. Yusuf Chimiti looks like he's had an operation. I still don't know what happened to him. I don't know whether you can shed some light on that. Disappointed in that because I think out of the forwards we've got at the club, I think he's probably looked the best in pre-season. He got a couple of goals against Sligo Rangers. He's been putting himself about. He looks more hungrier than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for example, and I don't think we can include Beto in the conversation because people know my thoughts on Beto. He has been linked away. But yeah, bit sad to see Chimiti. It looks like it's a long-term one. It looks like his leg and foot are in plaster. As I say, I don't know if you can shed some light on it. I don't know what the injury is.
No, I don't know the extent of it either, to be honest. But what I will say is I completely agree with you. I think Chimiti, there was moments last year where I watched him come off the bench and I thought, he's got a bit about him, he's got a bit of pace. He's got that bit of skill as well. He's got a little bit of he can beat a man. And I thought, I'd like to see him get a few more minutes. And then he's had a decent pre-season in terms of minutes that he's got. And then all of a sudden, he picks up this injury. And I don't know much about it. I don't know much about it at all. But what I do know is his foot's in plaster. And, Dyche is saying he's going to be a fairly lengthy time. So he must have broke an ankle or, broke his foot somehow. Or I don't quite know. But
could be a metatarsal, couldn't it, something?
Yeah, and it's disappointing because, yeah, you're right. He has been more hungry. He's, I mean, in terms of his chances that he's taken, if I'm being honest, I don't think Calvert-Lewin would have scored them. I mean, one of them was a relative tap-in, and I still think Calvert-Lewin would find a way to miss. I think Calvert-Lewin could be 1 yard from goal and still find a way to miss or to hit the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper could be facing the other way. He could be ahead of the goalkeeper, and he'll manage to backheel it straight to the goalkeeper. So I am disappointed and a bit gutted about Chimiti, but it is encouraging that we've got a player that looks so hungry to come back. The concern is then, we have been linked with players leaving. Calvert-Lewin's been linked with moves away. Beto's been linked with a move away today to Atalanta to replace Kameka, which, as long as there's a month of Sundays, I don't quite understand how Beto's become a Premier League footballer, but I'm not going to sit here and completely throw him under the bus because I hope that he proves me wrong, as I do with every Everton player. But at this moment in time, do I think he's a Premier League footballer? No, I don't. I don't think he uses his strength and his body weight well enough at all. I think his legs are all over the place in terms of his ability to control a ball. I think it's just it and hope. He came on against Coventry, and one of his first touches was he's come to receive a ball from Mason Holgate, and it bounced off his kneecap and went back into our half. And I sat there thinking, without being disrespectful, I play with better lads on Tuesday night. So I hope he proves me wrong. I really do, and I like the fact that he come out and said that he has this thing of the haters, and if he listens to me and he thinks I'm a hater and whatever. Well, look, just prove me wrong. I will be your number one advocate if you prove me wrong. I'll be your number one advocate anyway. You put a blue shirt on and start on Saturday, I'll be there screaming your name. Oh, Leo, Beto. No problem. The problem is, I just don't think he's got it in the locker. Would I accept 20 million euros? Yeah, I would. To be honest, a £10 million loan fee is basically what it would end up being that we have to pay Udinese, and it was an expensive failure, in my opinion. It doesn't have PSR. I get all of that, but I don't care.
I'd accept 20 million quid and a free lift to Atalanta as well, to be fair.
But then obviously there is the problem about starting the season. Calvert-Lewin, let's be realistic, has not looked bothered in pre-season. The last game against Preston was the time that he looked the most bothered. He doesn't appear that he's going to sign a new contract. We're now on the 5th of August or whatever it is. If we're going to sell him, it needs to be this month, really. The season starts in, 10, 11 days. I just think we need to start. If he's not going to be playing for Everton Football Club, what's the plan? Because we can't go into the game against Brighton starting Mulpay up front. I just can't. I can't deal with it, if I'm being honest, John. I can't deal with that because, I can't deal with it.
I think that the worrying thing for me is, out of the forwards we've got, I think Calvert-Lewin scored one goal, which was a penalty, and he did look a bit better against Preston. But as you quite rightly say, you don't want to go into a game with him against Brighton on the form he's on, and lack of hunger and lack of interest in the club, in the team, lack of interest in the blue shirts, if we want to go as far as saying that. But you say we can't go into the Brighton game with a player like that. We can't go into the full season with a player like that, Michael, because he's out of contract at the end of this season. He's refused to sign a new contract. So we have to start looking at striker options, because and I know, and the rest of the fan base know, we can't go into a new season and our 3 fit strikers are Beto, Maupay and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Because again, we spoke about this last week on the channel. Defensively, I think we'll be sound. We've got players there that'll create chances, and we've got midfielders now who, by the looks of it, will chip in with goals as well. But we won't get enough goals from the midfield. You need strikers to score goals, and unfortunately, we haven't got any striker out of the 3 fit ones at the minute who we could bank on to score us enough goals to push us on.
Yeah, we've always had. It's mad, really, and because we've always had midfielders in our teams over the years prior to this little spell that could go and get us goals. Tim Cahill used to get us 10 every season. Arteta would chip in with 6 to 8. Pienaar would get probably 6 to 8. Even Billy Letdinoff. I mean, some of the goals they used to score, he'd chip in with 3 or 4 or 5 goals a season. I look at the Everton team now, and I do worry about the goals. It's the one thing I worry about. Lindstrom coming, scored a lovely free kick, to be fair to him. I mean, he scored a lovely free kick, and it'll take a bit of time to adapt to the Premier League, because the one thing I would say about the players we've signed in attacking positions, none of them look particularly big, physical or strong. They might be quick and they might have a bit of skill about them, but I don't look at any of them and go, yeah, you're going to be able to hold off a right back or a left back that's putting pressure on you and then deliver a ball. I don't look at any of them and think that. So what I need to see in this Roma game, for me personally, is if we're going to have a style of play, what is it? Because Preston, although it was better, I still couldn't tell you how we were playing. I know we might have set up 4-4-2, or we set up 4-3-3, or we play 3-5-2, or whatever we play. I just need to sort of understand where we're going with it, so I can almost in my own head put the players in the positions. Because the other player you've mentioned earlier is Jack Harrison, and I think Jack Harrison works really, really hard. But I do question his end product. I really do question his end product, especially in Premier League games. So if he's going to be playing as much as what he appears to be, especially in pre-season, then how often Lindstrom and Ndai going to play? And then what is the point of their signings? And this is what I don't understand. I don't have a clue what our best 11 is as of right now. I haven't got a clue. Formation or players, I just don't know.
I think with Jack Harrison playing in the middle, I think, you talk about his end product, and obviously when people talk about end product, it's beating a man and whipping the ball in, and his end product can be a bit off like that. But if he's playing in the middle, it mightn't stand out as much. I've seen an interview today that Sean Dyche had done, and apparently he wants to change the way we play this season. So he sort of wants to knock the long balls on the head. With the players that he's brought in, he basically saying he wants to play more football, and it was a bit more evident against Preston when you had Ndai or you had Linston dropping back to take the ball off the defenders and run with it. And according to Sean Dyche, that's the way he wants to play more this season, and try and cut defences open from the opposition. And I think we've got the players now more than what we have had in the past who can do that. I think Lindstrom's capable of doing that. I want to single out Ndai. I watched him again, what we've seen of it against Preston. He's got a few flicks. He's got a bit of skill about him. Yeah, 8 times out of 10 it'll come off. When it doesn't work, it looks shocking. I think there was one there where he sort of stood on the ball and spinned and he lost it, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
there is a bit of skill about him. Again, I'll go back to what you said to me the other week about Ealing and Ndai. Does Dyche know his proper position? Because I don't think he does. And as you quite rightly say, when you've got Doucouré and you've got Garner, you've got Garner Guy, you've got James Garner, you've got Ndai, you've got Jack Harrison, all in the middle. As you say, who's going to be his starting 11? I think he's looking for a bit more flair in the midfield, because when you think about James Garner and Idrissa Gana Guy and Doucouré, there's not much flair or skill out of them players. So I think that's why he might drop Jack Harrison in there, or he might put Ndai there and put Lindstrom on the wing. I do think with them players we've brought in, I'll say it again, we will create a lot more chances.
Yeah, I just think it'll be interesting how he sets up. If he plays a 4-2-3-1, say Calvert-Lewin up front, he has left winger, say McNeil. In the middle of those, as a 10, he has Harrison or Ndai. On the right-hand side, he has Lindstrom or whoever's left. You then sort of look at the midfield and you go, well, who's going to play out of Tim Irabunan, James Garner, Idrissa Gana Guy? The one player that I don't think actually will be at Everton at the end of August is actually Doucouré. I don't think he'll be at Everton.
I have a feeling he goes to Saudi, Doucouré, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think he's an Everton player at the end of the summer, and I wish him all the best if that is the case. But I just don't see where he fits.
Yeah, I think as well the way Dyche is wanting to set up with the way he was talking and the more flair players he's brought in, I don't think he's going to play Idrissa Gana Guy and Doucouré in the same team like we have done in seasons gone by. So I think Doucouré will be the one to miss out. And listen, again, echo your thoughts and sentiments there. If he does move on, thanks very much for your service. But towards the end of last season and in pre-season, he just doesn't look there. He doesn't look. I'd have no problem selling Abdoulou Doucouré whatsoever.
But my concern is you're losing the physicality that we did have in midfield. The one thing you could always say about Everton is they either had a Nana who was strong or Doucouré who was strong. I don't look at James Garner, Tim Irabunan and Idrissa Gana Guy and go, yeah, they're solid.
I think Irabunan could do the sort of job that Doucouré does. I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as what we've seen Doucouré actually do that. But I missed him out before. I thought he was brilliant the other day. He was really, really good against Preston. And I'd have no problem with him starting the season in the team, because for me, he's come in and each game that's gone by in pre-season, he looks like he's got stronger. He's getting to know the players around him. He's making himself available for the ball and making things happen. And the other day, there was a perfect opportunity to say he might be able to do what Decore could done, because I think they were on the break and he slid in and he won the ball and he got up with it and brought it away. I like players like that, and he looks a player to me. And I didn't know much about him before he come to Everton, but already I've seen enough to say I think he's going to do all right.
Yeah, I really rate him. And a lot of my friends who were Villa fans at the time, they said that they rated him. He just couldn't get into the Villa midfield at the time. And you look at the Villa midfield, you can kind of understand why. You know, you're not necessarily going to put your trust in a young lad, but in Everton, he's perfect. He can carry the ball, he can tackle, he's got a bit of pace. He's actually got some skill as well. He can beat a man.
Seems more like an all-rounder, doesn't he, than what we've had in the past?
But we've got two all-rounders, because I'd also argue that James Garner does exactly the same job. And I know people haven't been raving about James Garner as much as I have, but I must say I also think James Garner's had a good pre-season. And I know he's been in games where we've lost or we've conceded lots of goals, but he's always wanted the ball. He's always been available. He's always come short. He's carried the ball. He's passed left to right. He's tried to pass it forward. He just hasn't had the players around him to do any damage with it. And I do think, and I know we disagree slightly on James Garner, but I do think he could have a good season this season. I really do.
From what I've seen in pre-season, I know it's only pre-season and people keep throwing that comment at me. I'm yet to be convinced that he's up to speed and he's going to do enough for me. But again, like you, I hope I'm proved wrong, because if I'm proved wrong, he's having a good season, isn't he?
Well, mate, we're only going to know at the end of the season, so I'm more than happy to have these little side hustles with you. Do you get what I mean? You know, whether you're proved right or whether I'm proved right. I mean, I'll sit there all day and tell you the players that I think are going to look absolutely immense this season. You know, O'Brien's going to be unbelievable. I mean, he looks a player, him, and he scored a great goal.
Do you think he plays 3?
To be honest, based on the way that our team is, it's really difficult, because you either will go 2 attacking or 2 defensive. So I'd have no problem playing the 3, and then you may play 3-4-3. But then, who do you have as your wing backs?
I don't think we've got players at the club who are capable of consistently playing wing back.
But the best one, in my opinion, you may disagree with this, but I believe the best one-on-one defender we actually have at the football team is Mikalenko.
Yeah, but what would you put on the right?
Well, I don't know. Jack Harrison, can he play wing back? I don't know, and this is the problem, because then you've got too many wingers almost. Because if you had 3, you'd have a sort of left winger and a right winger as the 4 in the middle. So say you have McNeil and Jack Harrison. Your front 3 is then Calvert-Lewin, Ndai, and Lindstrom. It just seems too attacking to me.
Well, according to Dyche in that interview, he wants to play like that a bit more. So if you've got the 3 big men at the back,
I'd almost love to see it, but we're almost a game too late, if you get what I mean. I would have loved to have seen Everton go 3-4-3. You've got your 3 centre halves, which is Tarkowski, Branthwaite, and O'Brien. The 4 in the middle, I would go with, like, I don't know, Harrison or McNeil, Irabunen, James Garner, and Harrison on the right hand side, or McNeil again, either one. And then up front, them 3 players, Calvert-Lewin, Ndai, and Lindstrom. That team is a very, very attacking team, and that team should, on paper, score goals. With the 3 at the back, will they be able to defend everything? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, have I just wrote the formula for us winning the league, John? I mean, have I just done that on the top of my head? Because I can't see any weaknesses in that team there, John. Apart from centre midfield, we might be a bit soft.
I think we were talking like this time last pre-season, where we were well, you know what I mean? But again, you're quite right with what you say. With the players you've named, attacking-wise, it's spot on, apart from obviously the finishing product, which is what matters, which is scoring goals. And again, I do think we'll cause defence opposition defence's problems with cutting them open and getting in behind their fullbacks and stuff like that. But again, it's the end product that worries me, of people who can put the ball in the net. That's me worry. I know he's been linked with, I'm not going to say his name because you asked me to say it today, from Salamanca or somewhere like that, whatever the club is, a centre forward.
You mean Dia? Is that his name, Dia?
Yeah. We've been linked with him. I think we've been linked with him a couple of times, to be fair. I think we've looked at him a few times. Is he a replacement to come in for Calvert-Lewin? Is he a replacement for Beto going? But for me, we need a striker. You know, we've brought attacking players in now across the middle. We've brought a winger in Lindstrom. We've brought a centre-half in Jake O'Brien. We need a striker now, more than anywhere else. Possibly cover for Mikalenko at left back. We've only got Young who can fit there. Got Patterson and Coleman on the right-hand side. Coleman's not going to play every week, and Patterson, again, is another player who's yet to impress me and say, yeah, he's going to make it in the Premier League. I'm unsure about Patterson. I know he's had a lot of injuries. I think he's injured again. He's very injury-prone. But for me, we need a striker to be able to convert these chances that them players that we've spoke about are going to create. So we need to go out and find this striker from somewhere who could score us 15, 20 goals a season. Because I'm telling you now, the strikers at the club aren't going to do it. The strikers at the club, out of all the strikers we've got at the club, probably won't score 20 goals between them.
Mate, I'm telling you now, if you found a 20 Premier League goal a season striker into
10, 12 goals, because we've got, as we've said, we're going to get midfielders who are chipping in with goals now. But I know strikers are hard to come by, and as I say, it was probably a bit over the top there with the figure. You know, if you want a 15 a season striker, you're probably looking at 30, 40 million pounds, which Everton haven't got. We can't, we can't do that. Do we go and get a player on loan who's capable of scoring 10, 12 goals a season? And then you're looking at the midfield, and I think Jake O'Brien's very capable of scoring quite a few goals this season as well.
But he scored. So he scored four goals last season in France. He's 6'6", so he's more than capable of winning the header. We already know Tarkowski and Branthwaite have got a goal in them as well. It would not surprise me, horribly for me to say this, but it would not surprise me if we get more goals from them three centre-halves than we do from our strikers.
Well, if he's not going to play three centre-halves at the back, I'll just throw Jake O'Brien up front me.
Yeah, and Michael Keane alongside him.
Good. Well, yeah, we've been in the league then. It was a good finish the other day, but we flicked it on to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He chested it down. Good finish from the edge of the box. So he has got an eye for goal, whether it be with his head, and he's good with his feet, obviously. We've seen that already. So we will get goals from defence again.
What's your take on Kalvin Phillips? Because we've been linked with him again today.
Yeah. Listen, Man City don't sign poor players, or it's very rare they take a poor player in. Pep Guardiola went out and bought him. So obviously he's got something about him. My only worry is how poor he was at West Ham. His attitude seemed off. I think he got sent off quite early in his West Ham career. Didn't really take off for him there. People are telling me he's a Sean Dyche sort of player. But again, if we bring a Kalvin Phillips in, where does he fit? It's another midfielder.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. And as you quite rightly said earlier on before, we seem to be overloading the team with midfielders and wingers.
Yeah, and exactly that.
Yeah, so it's another one coming in, and I know Sean Dyche is a big admirer of Kalvin Phillips. Kalvin Phillips probably would come if the money was right. We'd probably end up paying all his wages and a loan fee. It's the attitude of him that worries me, and Pep Guardiola had to go at him because he went back and he was overweight one pre-season. Then he goes to West Ham on loan. He struggled there, as I say. Is he another Dele Alli? Players like that who have made it too early and won things in their career too early and made all the money. Do they go off the boil and lose the hunger for the game? That's what worries me about Kalvin Phillips. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who watch this video who probably won't agree with me, but listen, it's all about opinions. But I think also there is people who have spoke to myself who are unsure about Kalvin Phillips and his hunger for the game.
I think there's a lot of people that would agree with you, John. And if I'm being honest, it's the one thing that holds me back. It's the one thing that makes me go, I don't know if I'm keen on this. I don't know if I'm up for him coming in. So I don't know if I'm being brutally honest. I'm not sold.
It's like when you look at players who Everton link with and they're good players, and you go, yeah, I'd love him to come, and it doesn't happen, and you think, you know, I'm a bit gutted there that didn't happen. If Kalvin Phillips didn't happen, it wouldn't ask me. Wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas we were linked with James Rodriguez, and I was sitting there going, please make it happen, fingers crossed. Like, come on, make it happen.
Yeah, I know. But again, I don't think he's got a club. I think James Rodriguez, but again, he's not a Sean Dyche player. He doesn't fit into the team.
Another player.
I don't think he fits into Sean Dyche's way of playing.
Another player that doesn't technically have a team, but you have just mentioned him, is Dele Alli. Now, we know he's got goals in him from his days at Tottenham. But that was, 7 years ago now? 6 years ago? It's a long time ago. Do you continue to take this chance and let him train? And because the thing that surprised me is we haven't even seen him in pre-season, even as a trialist.
Yeah, I was thinking about this before. We could actually use him as a trialist. Listen, from all accounts and the way Sean Dyche talks about Dele Alli and the way Dele Alli spoke about Everton, Sean Dyche really rates him, and I think he likes him as a person as well. But the problem you've got is, as you quite rightly say, he hasn't got a contract. He's not under contract. He's basically using Everton's facilities to get himself fit. We haven't seen him in many training videos. We haven't seen him in pre-season games as a trialist, as you say. He's another one for me, and I said this before. It's about hunger with these players, Michael. I don't think you'll see Dele Alli sign a permanent contract at Everton. I really I don't. I don't. Yeah, I just think he's probably going to have to get himself fit, or probably sit down and have a word with Everton and say, look, I'm doing my best to get myself fit. Is there a contract or offer? Blah, 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 blah. Everton have got to be careful with these sort of players. We've seen it in the past. We've wasted money on wages on players who can't get themselves fit, don't play enough games. It's just a waste of a wage for me. It's a waste of a shirt. When we've seen it in the past. So does Dele Alli go, well, look, where are we here? To Sean Dyche, Kevin, well, where are we? Where are we at? Are you going to offer me a 12-month contract on reduced wages? Am I going to get game time? And then they might say, well, get himself fit. And does he look at a lesser team than Everton? Does he go to the Championship for one season, to a Coventry or a lower team in the Premier League, like an Ipswich or something? I don't know. That's no disrespect to Ipswich, by the way, but to kickstart his career again, I don't think that happens at Everton.
Yeah. Interesting, really. Well, hey, the season's literally around the corner. It's exciting. If you remember, you can't get tickets unless you've gone to every game and spent through the nose. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
On the positive, though, you're going to get a season ticket for Bramley Moor. So.
Oh, I'm excited. It just means I might do more watch-alongs, to be fair, on my own. Right. Well, I think that is it. I haven't really got anything else to add. Nothing exciting, anyway. I'd just like this whole Calvert-Lewin and Melpay thing cleared up, I would, personally. I'd just like to get it sorted.
I just want a striker sorted. I just need to know who we're going into the season with, whether it's them three. If Beto moves on, Maupay's probably not going to get much game time. I don't think we can rely on Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score us enough goals, and that's what worries me more than anything going into this season. Goalkeeper, defence, we look okay. Midfield, we've brought some decent players in. It's the end that matters for me, and that's what worries me.
Would you rather start me up front, John?
No, because you miss open goals. I'd rather start Beto up front than you.
You could stick Kane up front.
Could do.
Run, Kane, run!
And he did.
He did
Tell you
run.
what,
You almost killed him.
Dominic Calvin-Lewin run, you wouldn't run. I would have killed him.
You almost killed him.
Maybe Dominic Calvin-Lewin needs me behind him then, because he just doesn't break into the sweat. I just don't know what's going on with him.
You've got no excuse. You sit front row. You literally could manage the team from your seat.
I've had 2 players in the past tell me to F off and shut up.
Well, yeah. Okay, right. Well, I will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you Saturday for the Roma game, everyone. Peace.